Hello and welcome to Grade 10 English Lessons. This is Unit 5, Episode 4. So in this episode, we're going to learn how to summarize a text, and we're also going to learn how to translate perfectly from Arabic into English. To begin this episode, I'd like to read this quote. I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something. But I cannot accept not trying. This is a quote by the famous basketball player, Michael Jordan. Now, open your workbook, page 34, and let's summarize. Before we begin the summary, what do you think a summary means? A summary is a shortened text written in your own words. So what do you think written in your own words here means? It means you paraphrase. In order to paraphrase a text, you can shorten some ideas, change the vocabulary, change the verb form, or change the word class. Let's practice it together. So here we have a text about marathon racing. Go through the text. You can pause the video to read all of the text. Now we have this sentence. Although many marathon runners have personal trainers, they are not allowed to assist the runners whilst they are racing. Which vocabulary words can we change here? We have the word although, which also means whilst, whereas, and though. For the word many, we can also use several, various, or countless. Allowed, there are different synonyms: authorized, permitted, or accepted. And we have the word assist, which could also mean aid, help, or support. So if we change these vocabulary items, for example, although, we change it to whereas, we change many to several, allowed to permitted, and assist to support. This is how the sentence would look like. Whereas several marathon runners have personal trainers, they aren't allowed to assist the runners whilst they are racing. So, do we paraphrase every single word in a sentence? Definitely not. Now, let's take some tips to help us summarize a text perfectly. First of all, summaries are not a place for background knowledge, opinions, or personal information. So make sure you don't write these things in your summary. Now, what do you think is the best way to summarize a text? First of all, you have to read the text in order to understand the main ideas. Don't let big words scare you. If some words scare you or are too difficult for you, I recommend that you read the sentence again in order to understand the context, which will help you understand or guess the meaning of a specific word you're stuck on. Last but not least, ask yourself, what is this text about? Now pay attention to the following. Your summary should be in complete sentences. Don't leave spaces. Your summary should cover the main point and key ideas. It should be in your own words. It shouldn't be written in points, and it shouldn't be off topic. Now here are some things that you need to pay attention to when you summarize. This is the rubrics. The first thing you need to pay attention to is the content or relevance of ideas. That means that your summary is connected to the text and answers the question of the text. The next thing is paraphrasing. That means you change the sentences into your own words. The next one is spelling and grammar. We have format. Just like I told you before that, you need to write your summary in paragraph format. Don't write in points. This will give you the total for the summary making. Here are some other things that you have to pay attention to, and they are very important. First of all, copying the whole paragraph receives a 0. The summary will ask you, or the question will ask you to write 4 sentences. That's it. So there is no need to copy the full text. Exceeding the required number of sentences also has some remarks. For example, -5 marks for 1 sentence. That means if you write 5 sentences instead of 4, you lose 5 marks. And if you write 6 sentences and above, then you lose 10 marks. Now open your workbook to page 34 and look at the first paragraph. Here we have the text. Read it, then let's go and look at the question. In 4 sentences only, summarize and paraphrase the passage in an answer to the following question. So pay attention to the question. It's asking you to summarize and paraphrase. What qualities should Formula One drivers have? We have our first answer. Formula One drivers need to be able to work well with other people and have great interpersonal skills. They also have to be independent and sure of themselves. Drivers need to be very courageous, very aware, and always determined to win. The reason why you're looking at number 3 and 4 together is because we're going to use a technique in paraphrasing. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. Now, let's take the first sentence and paraphrase it. Formula One drivers need to be able to work well with other people and have great interpersonal skills. We have work well with other people. I think we can find a better phrase that can give us the same meaning. So let's paraphrase it together. Formula One drivers should be able to work well in a team and have great interpersonal skills. So if you look at the paraphrase sentence, what we did was we changed work well with other people to work well in a team. It still gives us the same meaning. Now we have the second sentence. They also have to be independent and sure of themselves. We have sure of themselves here. Let's change it to something else. They should also be independent and confident. So here we have a sequence word or a connector called also. And we also changed sure of themselves to confident. It's a word that gives us the same meaning. For the third sentence, Formula One drivers need to be very courageous, very aware, and always determined to win. Now, in this third sentence, there's a trick we can use. If you look at the sentence, it's divided into multiple clauses. So let's split it up into 2 different sentences. So this will be sentence number 3, and this will be our last sentence for the summary. So let's paraphrase the first one, which is number 3. Formula One drivers need to be very courageous. What do you think is another word that we can use here instead of the word courageous? Think about it for a few seconds, and then let's paraphrase it together. So here is the paraphrased sentence. In addition, Formula One drivers should be very brave and very aware. Here we used a connector in addition, and we changed the word courageous to brave. Now we come to the fourth sentence. Again, if you remember, the third sentence, we split it into 2 different sentences. Now we come to the second part. And always determined to win. This will be our final sentence. Let's paraphrase it. We have the word determined. Change it into a different word. And let's see if you got it right or not. Finally, they should always have the determination to win. So if you look at this paraphrase sentence, what we did was we used the connector finally for our final answer, and we changed the word determined to determination. If you notice, determined here is an adjective. We changed it to determination, which is a noun. This is a word class change from an adjective into a noun. Now, this is how your summary should look like. It should have connectors, it's in paragraph format, and we paraphrase it. Now, let's read it together, and I think you can understand how we paraphrase or how to summarize a text. Formula One drivers should be able to work well in a team and have great interpersonal skills. They should also be independent and confident. In addition, Formula One drivers should be very brave and very aware. Finally, they should always have the determination to win. If you compare the summary that we just did and the original text, you'll find that they look nothing alike. Now that we're done with the summary, let's go ahead and look at the translation. So let's begin with some tips. Number 1, translate meanings, not words. Number 2, avoid word-for-word translation. And I'll show you why this is a very important tip in a few minutes. Number 3, don't leave spaces for words you don't know. Again, I'll show you why this is important when we tackle the translation together. Last but not least, look for keywords that make a difference. Now that we have the tips and we understand what we need to do in order to translate from Arabic into English, let's take our first translation. Translate the following into good English. أحمد، تهتم الكويت بإعادة تأهيل ذوي الاحتياجات الخاصة ودعمهم بفرص عمل مناسبة. If you look at the word بإعادة تأهيل, it means rehabilitating. ذوي الاحتياجات الخاصة means disabled. So if we translate these two words into English, we'll have rehabilitating disabled. Now, if we keep it as it is, do you think this is a good translation? Can we accept it? Or do we reject it? We reject it. Why? Because there are spaces left. We only translated 2 words. So this is the tip that we gave you in the past few minutes. Don't leave spaces in your translation. The next thing is, when it comes to rehabilitating and the disabled, we did a word-for-word translation. So if we leave them as they are, it's not going to make sense. The summary or the translation should look like this. Ahmed, Kuwait is interested in rehabilitating disabled people and support them with suitable job opportunities. Now it's your turn. Look for keywords that make a difference in this sentence. خالد، هذا صحيح وقد قامت الكويت ببناء ناد مخصص لهم مزود بقسم للعلاج الطبيعي. So what are the keywords here? We have ناد مخصص and بقسم للعلاج الطبيعي. So translate the keywords first. Make sure you avoid word-for-word translation and don't leave spaces. Take a few minutes to translate this sentence. Now let's check your answers. This is the correct translation. Khalid, that's right. Kuwait has built a specialized club for them that is equipped with a physiotherapy department. So if this is your translation, excellent job and well done. In this episode, we learned how to paraphrase and to summarize a text. We've also translated certain sentences from Arabic into good English. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.